Now, ladies and gentlemen, we quickly move on to our next session of the day. And for this, I would like to call on stage with a big round of applause, Mr. Uday Prabhu, Sales Manager and Application Scientist from Bruker Scientific India. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Uday Prabhu from Bruker? Uday, welcome to the stage and looking forward to a great session from you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Uday Prabhu, working as application scientist and now moved into the sales. And first of all, I would like to thank Synex for this opportunity to meet food community in India. And as you are aware, NMR is a very important technique widely used in mostly in industry, chemical industry, polymer industry, pharma, and in academia like universities and institutions, where NMR is routinely used for R&D purpose. And nowadays I see there is a shift in using NMR for QC/QA purposes. There are some applications which are routinely used, but it's mostly R&D oriented technique. Now of late we started participating in food conferences or food summits. Get to know. Our intention is to know more about ever-changing needs of food industry, and NMR is very very capable technique which can cater to the ever-changing needs of food industry. So coming to our portfolio, Bruker is an global leader in magnetic resonance techniques. We have systems ranging from benchtop till floor standing systems, meeting the requirements from end-to-end value chain, be it basic research, discovery, up till finished goods, quality control of finished goods. And so I would like to briefly touch upon food screener, our floor standing systems, and the benchtop NMR, time domain NMR, which are international standard methods for food analysis. And I think due to limitation of time, I just give may not touch upon much about micro ESR, which again a magnetic resonance technique. Instead of nuclei, here we are using paramagnetic electrons to get more information about the food. And so coming to the micro ESR, I just mentioned this is used for oxidation profile of edible oils and also the flavoring profile of the beer. So coming to our floor standing solution, food screener, this is a standardized 400 megahertz NMR spectrometer. So what I mean by 400 megahertz is for NMR we need a magnet, and at particular magnetic field, the resonance frequency of the molecule, for example proton, is 400 megahertz. And so NMR is it's a highly repeatable and accurate technique where nowadays automation has taken leap and bounds, and it's fast and fully automated. Unlike earlier days, we need not have NMR expertise to use NMR. And we also have automation where we can load up to 60 samples, which can take care of long weekdays or holidays, long weekends and holidays. Coming back. Okay, so as I said, NMR is mostly seen as tool for research and development or discovery. Of late, it is widely used in adulteration control, authenticity control, and quality control, especially in food. So Bruker started with the honey profiler almost 10 years ago, and Bruker was expert in NMR knowledge. We collaborated with QSI, who is expert in food metrics like honey, and we jointly developed the honey profiler method. Just to give just one slide, NMR means nuclear magnetic resonance. And a nuclear, it's nothing to do with radiation. It is just a nuclei under test. It may be proton, carbon, fluorine, or basically whole periodic table is accessible with NMR. And the first and foremost requirement is there should be magnetic field, and it can be like permanent magnet as in benchtop up to superconducting magnets in high field systems. And like electromagnetic spectroscopy, we have resonance radiation falling in the RF range, radio frequency range. Right? Just to give one slide introduction, like any other spectroscopy, we have signal coming from nuclei, and out of this, this is simple spectrum of ethanol, and there are basically three parameters one looks for in NMR spectrum. First is the position of signals, we call it as ppm, and the second one is the splitting pattern, like it can be triplet, quadruplet, and it can be some complicated patterns which gives the neighboring molecule or groups, and which in turn will give help in structural elucidation of small organic molecules up to protein and DNA. And the next one is intensity. Basically we integrate area under the curve, which gives information about quantification. One can get absolute concentration information, and this can be used for profiling complex mixtures like food. Yeah, so we have used all these three important parameters to arrive at different food profilers. Thanks to NMR, it's intrinsically quantitative, highly reproducible, and one can approach by targeted and non-targeted likewise, and retrospective analysis of data. Let's say what I mean by retrospective is, let's say you have NMR data available which may be acquired few years ago, and you have now latest models with different database updates. In that case, earlier it may be passed with older models. You can again check with latest model, see whether still that is true. Basically, which gives an idea of changing dynamics of the adulteration in the food. This is just an NMR spectrum proton. NMR gives a chemical fingerprint of complex food matrix, and broadly we can classify into three ranges. First is aliphatic region ranging from 0 to 3 ppm, sugar range from 3 to 6 ppm, and 6 to 10 ppm we have signals coming from aromatic range. If you see, this is typical spectrum of honey. We see a lot of signals in the sugar region, and few minor components in the aliphatic and aromatic. Right. So in database based methods, the SOP is very, very important. It should be religiously followed without any deviation. Then which may lead to the deviation coming out of method in addition to that from this sample. So here we have chalked out SOP where honey is diluted and its pH is optimized, because if there is change in pH will lead into the shifting of the peaks. Then it is directly transferred into the 5 mm NMR tube. Then we have automation. One can prepare up to 60 samples and place it on automation. Just enter the type of honey, be it blossom, honeydew, and whether it is Indian. Basically once you have to declare few information, after that it's just a click. It will acquire NMR data in 20 minutes, and you have final report, comprehensive report, checking the claims and other information. Right. Yeah, honey is an important food product. It is of late due to bee diseases and different environmental reasons, there is dwindling population of bees. However, there is post-COVID, there is lot of demand for honey owing to its biological advantage, the healthy benefits. But since demand is more and the production is dwindling, here comes the syrup where people are rampantly adding into the honey, sold as natural honey, but it's mostly the addition of sugar syrup, be it false declaration. Let's say there are some premium honey like Manuka honey, which are very expensive, and its availability is really limited. And there are reports saying almost 10 times availability of such honey compared to the real production. There is also latest, important advanced technology like ultrafiltration or resin technology, where one can filter out pollens from the honey, and one can selectively add, honey from the outside. And due to economic profit, there can be honey can be ripened much before its maturity, and inappropriate bee feeding, like using sugar syrup for bee feeding. So all these things can be, there are conventional methods used which need, for example, which are based on few markers, and based on some syrups which are continuously evolving, and syrups are new, and refined syrups are coming up in the market, and single or monomarker method may not be efficient. And the official method, AOSC method, the carbon 13 IRMS, can detect only C4, and it is blind to C3 sugars like rice and other syrups, C3 syrups, and pollen grains. As I said, this can be selectively removed and selectively added from the outside. Yeah, so there is a need for advanced technique which can touch upon targeted as well as non-targeted, and give information about food metrics like honey without any much changing the sample. So here we have one can get the final report in 20 minutes. And everything is properly documented, SOPs, it's fully automated, and lower costs and time needed compared to the conventional techniques. And this is the method is developed in collaboration with QSI. It is highly deeply validated method with our channel partners. And at the moment we have nearly 28,000 authentic honey samples in the database. This is the schematic or a typical report you generate from after analysis of the NMR data. Here main thing is, if the claims are matching, then it is green, else it will be red. And there are instances where you see yellow, that means okay, this is still real honey, but there may be some typical honey where we do not have maybe representation in the database. And one can further go into the details and establish what is the reason behind or biopathway between this change in the metabolite concentration. And yeah, as I said, NMR is a highly quantitative technique. We can measure absolutely quantify the sugars, organic acids, amino acids, and all these are compared with the database. Yeah, just to give a gist, if you see the bottom, let's say if you add a sugar syrup or any rice syrup to the honey, we can see directly the elevated signals in the sugar region. This is very simple kind of adulteration. Nowadays, we rarely see such a classic or too obvious adulteration. In that case, we may have to look the whole fingerprint of the honey and look for variation in the pattern. Basically, it is non-targeted analysis, much helpful in tackling such complicated adulteration. Yeah, we have recently released the honey profiling method 3.0. In this case, we have, as I said, 28,500 honey samples from all over the globe. We have more than 50 geographical origins and more than 100 botanical varieties in the database, which contains monofloral and polyfloral honeys from single or different source. And not only that, we have seasonal variations also captured in the database. Right, so we have worldwide adoption of this food profiler, be it exporters, importers, beekeeper associations, and government regulatory labs. Right, So the advantage of NMR is this is standard NMR hardware. One can stack up different modules for food analysis. In this case, yeah, we already have honey profiling modules, wine profiling, and juice profiling module. Yeah, and the for example, spice and other modules are still under development, and recently Bruker has released olive oil profiling module with our floor standing as well as with benchtop 80 megahertz NMR. So in this case, yeah, Bruker is continuously updating our database with the different to capture the different variations and to meet the requirements of evolving market. Yeah. So as I said, this is the olive oil profiling is our latest release, where with both floor standing as well as benchtop NMR, one can verify country of origin like Greece, Italy, and Spain. Whether the premium, the extra virgin olive oil commands premium, that can be checked, claim can be checked, and basically in one shot one can get both authenticity and check compliance of IOC parameters, International Olive Council parameters, which are nearly, there are 15 or we have also additional parameters. Not only that, once again, this is again equipped with automation and all software modules. It's just a plug and play system with just a click, without any NMR expertise, you have final report at your hand. Yeah, this is a typical report where we get all 15 parameters recommended by IOC. Yeah. Now switching gears, coming to the NMR, benchtop NMR. Unlike high field NMR, these have targeted applications. For example, yeah, coming to the 80 megahertz, which is released 3-4 years ago. I'll just give, these are not established techniques like, methods like honey or juice profiler. These are exploratory, just to give an idea how NMR can be used for different, purposes. This is just to get an idea of fat content in milk. Just by integrating the area under the beak, one can get, what is the percentage of fat in a given milk. This is simple 80 megahertz system. It's with a minimal maintenance cost, and there are many such applications can be utilized various food industries. And coming to the coffee, nowadays decaffeinated coffees are being popular. Yeah, we can check the claim, whether there is caffeine or not, just by acquiring proton NMR signal, and there are markers listed, and we just look for their presence, and you can come to a conclusion. Again, the Arabica coffee being premium mixed with cheaper Robusta coffee. So we have the marker 16O-methyl caffeistol. We know its concentration, and whether we can see what is the percentage of Robusta in the Arabica coffee. And one more example where premium oil is mixed with cheaper oil for economic, for profit purpose. Yeah, in this case, pure olive oil mixed with different concentration of sunflower oil, and it can be easily concentrated using just by integrating the area under the curve. Yeah, till now we have seen Fourier transform NMR. Now there is one more. We have one more range of benchtop NMR. It's called TD-NMR, time domain NMR. Here what we see is we just look at the time domain signal, and we do not do any Fourier transform get frequency domain signal. Reason is because of low magnetic field, we don't have much resolution, unlike the high field system shown in the left side. So what we do is, this is in layman language, time domain NMR is kind of phase sensor. We can say whether it is liquid or solid. If they are in a mixture, what is the percentage of it in a given mixture. Let's say the signal from solid decays very fast, as seen in the the blue, and that from liquid decays very, very slow. And if you have mixture, one can design an experiment such that we get a relative proportion of solid or liquid in a given mixture. So again, I heard a lot of people saying, reducing carbon footprint or becoming more green. In that case, NMR can help because it needs minimal sample preparation. Just to take, for example, liquid as such in a given NMR tube, and this is non-destructive. One can use the sample for some other purpose, and the system is very compact and robust, and especially for an advantage of NMR is like any other optical technique. This is a bulk method independent of samples texture, color, or any surface properties. Way back in 1980, Bruker collaborated with Unilever and developed the method called solid fat content. This is international standard ISO and AOC standard method in edible oil industries, mostly in bakery shortenings. So which gives a melting profile of different fats, and based on this, these fats can be utilized in different finished food products. Also in oil and moisture determination, for example, without doing any routine chemical extraction, one can measure oil and moisture content in seeds. Just add seeds and measure its within let's say 1 minute you have oil and moisture content from NMR. So in this case, this is again AOCS method and IOCS method widely used in edible oil industry. And again, this droplet size distribution, which is very important parameter for emulsions, just to get the idea about their shelf life and microbial spoilage. This is again developed in collaboration with Unilever. And total fat content in chocolates. This is again very routinely done by NMR. You get fat content about in chocolates in less than 1 or 2 minutes. We have such systems in Mondelez, Ferrero, and all major chocolate companies. And coming to the solid fat content, we have almost more than 90% market share in globally. We have such systems in Adani Wilmar, Bunge, Cargill, and AAK. Most of the major edible oil companies. Not only that, one can use our benchtop NMR system to measure oil and moisture in meat, in milk and cocoa powder, and fat content in food snacks, and even in chips, and even in feeds. I'll take 1 more minute. I'm almost done. Yeah. Thank you for your attention. My idea is to just give a gist of NMR applications in the food industry. Yeah. If you have any doubt, please feel free to contact me on this contact details. And we have demo lab in Mumbai where we have 80 megahertz NMR and time domain NMR. If you want, we are free to check the feasibility of your samples. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and that was, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Uday Prabhu, Sales Manager and Application Scientist from Bruker Scientific India, and wonderful presentation. And just to tell you that the entire team of Bruker along with Uday is available throughout the day today. So after this, you are more than welcome to have a word with them, and they'll be more than happy to let you know about their solutions and products for the F&B industry in terms of safety. I would now like to call on stage Mr. Pradeep Kundu, Head Quality from Dabur India, to kindly do the honors of felicitating Uday. Pradeep ji, thank you so much for doing the honors. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Uday Prabhu, Sales Manager and Application Scientist from Bruker Scientific India, for his wonderful presentation on nuclear magnetic resonance solution for food analysis.